Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Soulful Wellness conversation um, between ourselves. I need to apologize. I'm really sorry. So today we are slightly late. Unfortunately, right here in England, there's the strikes. So I've had a little bit of a different morning, if I can say. But anyway, I am here today. How was your bank holiday yesterday? I hope it was great. I hope you were able to rest, to really attend to your soul, and to really enjoy the weather wherever you were, and enjoy the time with your friends, family, close ones. So today we're going to talk about obligations. So obligations, are they positive or negative? What really comes into the balance here? And I've got my notes, I've got my little notes. So if you see me going up and down with my eyes, I'm just looking at my notes. So I'm going to go first of all with a quote. I think this is a great quote from Alain de Botton. So what kills us isn't one big thing, but thousands of tiny obligations we can't turn down for fear of disappointing others. I think this really sums up like whether obligations can become how do obligations become negative, and the fact that is an addition and an addition and an addition that then becomes a really big thing. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that, and um, first of all, whether they're positive or negative, but also what can we do? What can we do to create some balance into our lives? What can we do to bring a little bit more of clarity in our life in terms of obligations? So this goes so well with the theme of the month. So we are in May now, and the theme of the month at Authentic Care is energy and flow. So, what are we looking for when we are bringing energy and flow into our life? Are we looking for ease? Is it possible to align ourselves with our ideal state? This is what we're looking for. We're looking for energy, we're looking for flow. And I feel that obligations, I mean, the topic of today's conversation is exactly where perfect for this month in terms of the flow, the ease, the energy. Are we aligning with the things that we desire in our lives? Are things actually killing us? Like, are we under a mountain of things, a mountain of obligations? Or are we going with ease? Are we taking the path of clarity in our life? So, I've got a little bit of a definition for you that I'm going to read here. It's an Oxford's dictionary definition. So, what they say here is that an obligation is an action, an act or course of action to which a person is morally or legally bound, a duty or a commitment. I think that it perfectly sums up what an obligation is. Here, in the context of the soulful wellness conversation and the community, what we are looking at really here is how is this tending to your soul? How are the obligation gonna help you in your life, or maybe be a deterrent and be something that is on the opposite side, not going to be helpful for yourself? So I'm gonna go into a little bit of story time. So um it's not necessarily my story or somebody else's story. I think it's just a general story that came across in myself working with certain people in terms of different communities, and mostly the Black community or the Asian community, where often obligations are part of the education. And what do I mean by that? I mean that there's a really strong sense um, of I would say rules and things that people need to abide by. And often being a woman into a community which is community from an Asian background or community from a black background, often there is this obligation that you have to do things a certain way, which is fine. It can be really beneficial. At the same time, it can be really detrimental for the person and the individuals. So when I look at some of the customers or clients that I've worked with, one thing that is come up a lot is often things that are linked to the cultural aspect. So when I mean by that, it could also be the religious aspect of people are expected to act in a certain way, to even love uh, certain people, or to even be around a certain community. If not, there is this idea that you become a little bit like the black sheep of the family, of the community, etc., etc. And I feel that obligations sometimes can be also can affect also the mental well-being of people. And because you have this obligation, often you can also take a route that you wouldn't have taken otherwise. So if you had the freedom to flow with your energy, with how you're feeling, in alignment with yourself and with your soul, you wouldn't maybe do certain things. And this can become an hindrance to people. So this is something that I really wanted to touch on today. It's also part, so when we talk about mental well-being, in general, people think of, I don't want to say an illness, but people think that it's got to do with health. Yes, it's got to do with health, but it's also got to do with so many things that are affecting us. So you have to look at different stages, different departments of your life. When you look at, like we were saying, the culture, we can look at the friends and the family, because culture is not only about the friends of the family, it could also be the culture that is followed at work, at school, in education. And all of those things are things that are going to have an influence of on individuals' mental well-being, and also in certain stance physical well-being. Therefore, I think it's really important to come onto those subjects and really highlight them. So just a quick reminder here. There is no right or wrong with obligations. So obligations could be both good and bad. There's no um, real right answer right here. However, I think it is important to know that the limit between so those obligations that will serve you or will serve a purpose, and those that ultimately don't, is what's going to be the make or break here, and what's going to create another environment of hostility, either within yourself or within your environment where you are, your community, etc., etc. So let's move on to the positives. So um, so obligations can provide like structures. So because there are obligations, there tends to be, I think, laws. So laws, in terms of what people follow, if I can say policies, procedures, all of these are certain types of obligations. And all of these can serve us when they are providing a structure, when they are providing a purpose, and when it is going into a sense of benefit to the individual or to the community. I think it's really good when it is done in a positive way, and when it's something that really benefits everyone. You are empowered. You feel empowered, and you feel like it's something that is beyond yourself. So when you are putting an action in place, you feel that, oh, I've done this, but I've done this because you've served this person or that person, or even the community on a larger scale. So that's really important. And I think in that case, it really helps because it helps with building the self-esteem. It helps with building the confidence, with providing this sense of satisfaction. Like, oh, there's a purpose here. I did my part. I feel really empowered. And in that case, I think it's amazing. So we've got obligations that are within ourselves. So obligations that we've put on ourselves that are serving us or are of disservice. We can go into this, but I think is the kind of the same general sense here. Um, and then we have also those obligations that we have because we belong to a certain place. So those are coming, like I was saying before, into the different section, the different departments of our lives. And we have to, at a certain level, accept in order to comply with where we are, and to be able to be organized and to be able to really live amongst each other. So, in a sense of like, if there were no laws, if there were no obligations, if there were, everyone will do whatever they wanted. So we can't go into live into a place that is going to be just part of a chaos. And that's why it is positive to have obligations. Now, coming into the other side, which is the negative. So, in terms of the negative, I feel like the quotes that I shared before, I'm going to put it back here. What kills us isn't one big thing, but thousands of tiny obligations we can't turn down for fear of disappointing others. I think that this quote is just sums up perfectly how negatives happens, how obligations can be on the negative side. So they can become a part of stress. They can lead to feelings of anxiety. You can take on shame, guilt, unnecessarily. And I think too many obligations in the long run leads to burnout and leads to resentment. So the idea here is to create a balance between the negative and the positive, and to really, I think, have this kind of like assessment and knowing, having this understanding that this is where my limit is, and I think going over this is going to be too much for me. So we want a balance between our obligations and a balance between taking care of ourselves. Yeah. And I'm going to share another quote here, which is a quote from Brene Brown. And she says, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. So, as I was saying before, I think clarity is really important in terms of what you want to do in your life and in terms of obligations. So, when you know that an obligation is going to serve you, it's going to serve a purpose, then at that time, you have clarity. When there is overwhelm, when there is not a clear understanding, when there is not a clear a purpose, if we can say it like that, behind something, then it becomes difficult to see, to have this obligation and to go and follow it. So I've got a few little points to share on how you can start to create that balance in your life. So, first thing first, prioritize yourself. Prioritize your well being, your physical, mental, emotional, mental, I've just said it, physical, even financial. Um, just look after yourself. Basically, yourself first. When you've got enough, then you can go and support others or give to others. But also, you have much more of an understanding of what feels good to you, basically. Basically. Um, Two, so be conscious of your time and space. I think it's really important. Like, people will come in and will take your time, will take your space if you do not put the boundaries together. So this is going to be something that you're going to want to keep doing, to make sure that you are conscious of your time and your space. On the third side, and here I've got quite a few. So I've got quite a few of the build your muscle. Sorry, I've got my son here, as I was saying, because of the of, of the strike. Okay, so there's gonna be a little bit of noise here and there, but that's fine. We carry on. Okay, so we're gonna have a little bit of building. So building your no muscle, saying no muscle. So we've got a few muscles we need to build. So building also the discernment muscle, knowing how to protect yourself from getting taken advantage of. Then we're gonna be clear in our communication. So your communication is really important. If you are able to communicate clearly what it is that you need, what it is that you don't want, what it is that you accept, what it is that is over the limit, is gonna be more important for you. Another thing as well, it will be to set limits for others. I think this is a really important one. And then there's the last one, but to set limit for others. How do we set limit for others? We set limit by recognizing our needs. So when we recognize our needs, we are then able to say, you know what, I can't do this, or you know what, I can do it. And the last one, which is one of the most important one, is consistency. So consistency in knowing what it is that you need, knowing your obligations, knowing where the obligations are no longer obligations and they're now starting to become overwhelmed, is understanding all of these little areas in your life. Consistency is really important. I'm going to put the whole list into the comments later so you can remember what to do. So that will be what I will ask you to maybe do or to maybe try and put in your life. So put in practice. So now I'm going to talk to you about the Soulful Wellness space. And I hope that today is just a little bit of a talk we're having together. If you want to join the Soulful Wellness Space, the Soulful community, you are more than welcome. So, what comes with the Soulful Wellness community and the Soulful Wellness Space? There's so many things that comes, but I'm gonna take you a little bit. So, I've got my little other sheet where I have all my notes of things that I want to remember to tell you. But basically, the Soulful Wellness Space is a subscription for women in their 30s and 40s whom identify as nurturers and high achievers. And often, yes, Kalishu. Sorry, sorry, guys. So today I have to unfortunately do with what is. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna come back. All right. I don't know if I'm going to have to redo this video, but I'm going to carry on. So, it is an offer that has been created to empower, guide, and elevate women all over the world. For me, I believe it is a roadmap designed to help women cultivate a soul-led lifestyle thanks to the soulful conversation, thanks to receiving a box of 4 curated sustainable products delivered to your door wherever you are, a free human design chart, a personalized human design reading where we really focus on your soul care and how to get your strategy going in terms of looking after yourself and in terms of creating the space where you're going to feel elevated, as I was saying before. There's also a library, an online library with guest expert workshops and other relevant resources that are built into the community for you. And there's a free group Facebook page where you can come in and discuss and communicate with others. So it's really simple for you to join. The next shipping is on the first of each month. So the Soulful Wellness subscription box comes every month. Every month you get a soulful conversation. You also get access to the guest expert and the library. To subscribe is simple. There's a link here. As you can see, I'm going to put this link again into the comment and you will be able to go and check out all the details for the Soulful Wellness Space. What else? The cost. So the cost is only £125 per month and you can cancel at any time. Remember, what do you get? You get a soulful conversation, which is kind of like a coaching session with myself where we use EFT tapping, we use NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. We use also the human design, and we use also compassionate inquiry to support ourselves. Then you get a box delivered to your door every month of 4 curated sustainable products. Those products are curated especially for that month, for your needs, and especially to support again growth, to support empowerment and elevating yourself. Then you've got the library, the online library. Remember, every month there's a new guest expert that comes in because, hey, I don't have all the answers. And there are other guest experts who have a lot to share, a lot of expertise. And I'm really fortunate that they accept to come in the community and give us their skills and expertise so that we can use them every day in our daily lives. And then we've got the library online, which I've said already. But anyway, I just want to tell you thank you for listening to this live today. It was a little bit of a movement. There was a lot of movement with my son who decided to come in. Um, and anyway, it is what it is, and I'm really happy that I carried on, and I'm really happy that you will be able to listen, have the details. Please take all the advice and the tips that I gave today in terms of obligations, and really go and live your best life. All right, so that was me. You take care, everyone, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Ciao. Thank you.